I know you're nervous for the Rams, but you got to be a little enthusiastic after being there.
Bro, that game atmosphere was ridiculous. The energy, the electricity. That place was rocking. Anyone was there, and a lot of the Super Buck fans were there too. The Buck.
Tampa Tones. We are joined by Lee Goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron Show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little cleared. But we're joined by Pat
It looks like
Donovan.
Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like we got a little...
No, my camera's broke.
Howdy ho, howdy hey, how the hell are you? Welcome into the Buccaneers playoff edition. After the big victory this past Monday night on Monday Night Football, the Bucs are now 1-1 on Monday Night Football playoff games after the big win this past Monday. As Pepin Steppin says, Bucs baby, woo! That's how we're all feeling right now. I think we're all ready to run through a damn wall for this team. I mean, some of us have been ready the whole year, but nonetheless, Tampa Tones alongside the great J-Lo here, and we're going to bring J-Lo in and get his thoughts on the game, as he was at the game, and it was a great game to be at, one of the best to attend in Bucs history, probably. J-Lo, how the hell you doing, brother? Can't see you, but I'm sure we could hear you. How are you?
Oh, man, it's sight, man. Pardon my voice if I'm a little hoarse still. I did a lot of yelling, man. That was quite a game, man. That's probably the best game I've ever been to in my history of going to games.
Yeah, explain the game a little bit, the vibes, the atmosphere. How was it? Go into detail. We need more. Come on. We can't just say the raspy voice. We need more of the atmosphere.
I mean, dude, shout out to the Bucs season ticket holders for selling the Bucs fans. We definitely outnumber the Eagles fans at the stadium, which was nice. And plus, I had to hear that stupid-ass fucking song, Flag was flying my ass. But it was amazing, man. The Bucs fans stood out, man. The stadium was rocking loud. I mean, I haven't been at a game like that loud in a long time. Probably my teenager years, man. I mean, it's just great to be a Buccaneer fan right now. You know, everything's going the right way, the way we want it to. And, you know, shout out to Bowles, Jason Light, and the players, man. You know, they were not intimidated in the trenches, possibly sending Kelsey to retirement home. I mean, sky's the limit, man. I'm ready for Detroit.
Yeah, and we're on NBC this week opposed to ESPN. We have a date in Motown with Detroit. Thoughts on the game quick, J-Lo? We're going to get into it a little more later, but I'm feeling really good about this one. Really good about it.
Nah, man, I feel fantastic. Like, it's, you know, it was just so surreal to watch this team come together as brothers. I mean, it was kind of like watching the Super Bowl again, you know? Todd Bowles got after Jalen Hurts, man. Hurts couldn't do nothing. He had a couple bit lucky passes, you know. But, you know, C.J. McCollum at safety, corner, which, like, blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. I mean, he was throwing it all out there on the table. And then also Canales with the play calling, slinging the ball. Mike's got to catch those couple passes. Hopefully, you know, we get some improvement, you know, next game. You know, but the other fellas stepped up, man. David Moore. Also, Palmer, man, when they caught the ball, Tones, David Moore was like a cheetah, bro. Just full speed, juking Darius Slay out of his shoes, breaking tackles. I mean, they took full advantage of a beat-up Eagles secondary.
Yeah, and J-Lo, real quick here, we got Steppin' Peppin. Given his score already, we'll save ours for later, but he says 28-17 Bucs will beat Detroit. Christopher Cole says LFB, which means let's fucking bake. And J-Lo, man, a lot of haters, a lot of doubters, but Baker Mayfield continues to amaze, and he continues to silence the critics. And what was the vibe like surrounding Baker Mayfield? I mean, the fans are behind him at every game I've been to, you know, even in Indianapolis, the road crowd had his back when he got hurt and all that good stuff. But give us the thoughts on the playoff vibe around Baker Mayfield since you were at the game, and how the fans were taken to him and his epic performance, 3 touchdowns, a lot of yards, and no turnovers.
No, the fans were definitely all in on Baker, man. I saw a lot of Baker jerseys there, man. I mean, the guy's definitely earned his place here. He's just performing at a high level. And then you got, the little punk over in Detroit, running his mouth about Baker, which is fine. Go ahead, keep fueling him. I like him when he's fueled because he will pick apart that secondary come Sunday. And the fans, they were just into the game, man. Every time on third down, we were screaming our fucking voices off. And then the Eagle fans thought they could out scream us, get the hell out of here. I mean, watching them leave the stadium like early fourth quarter was just amazing. The Saturday flag was flying. I was like, bye, Eagles, bye. But the fans are so behind Baker Mayfield, man. They're definitely, you know, like the fan base is starting to grow, I feel like. And it's coming at a good time right now to where we could make a big run right now.
Yeah, and we got Tyler saying amazing game. Atmosphere was electric. Go Bucks. And Tyler is a man. He has season tickets as well. And I'm sure he was there loud and proud with the crew. If I would have been able to find a way down there, I very well could have been sitting with Tyler. So thanks for tuning in, Tyler. Always great to have your input as a season ticket holder. Pepin Steppen says, shout out to our rookies who balled out. I mean, that's been the story of the year, right? Between the draft class and the undrafted free agents that the Bucs brought in. Really, shout out to the rookies this year. You could look around, and when you're balling on a budget, you're going to need rookies to step up. And that's exactly what the Bucs have had. Rookies stepping up offensively, defensively, on special teams. Yes, special teams as Joshua Hayes had 1 vote for all pro on special teams. So the Bucs are getting it done with their rookies in every phase of the game. Not only their rookies this year, J-Lo, but last year, the Bucs draft class was, criticized, highly criticized. A lot of people said it was terrible. A lot of people were saying Light's job should be in jeopardy because of it. But J-Lo, I'm going to map out last year's draft class here quick, and we're going to go through it and say it was actually looking like a really good draft class for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know you can't judge a book by a cover, and a lot of people don't know how to process those words, but when you're just 1 year into a draft class and people are writing it off, our fan base just sounds stupid. And the stupidity is there with Bucs fans. It's like, come on, fellas, give Light a chance. Give Light the benefit of the doubt. Instead, you had people this offseason saying, Jason Light, he should be on the hot seat with this draft class and the moves he made and this and that about Jason Light. Our fans are too cutthroat at times. Listen to this class now and listen to how good it sounds now. Logan Hall, he looks like a good little rotational guy now. People wrote him off. Luke Odecki, one of the better right tackles in all of football this year. Rashad White, one hell of a season, one hell of a running back. Cade Otton growing more and more into a starting caliber tight end. Jake Camarda, one of the better punters in all of football. Zion McCollum, he's paying dividends, and as you alluded to, Bulls did a great job of mixing and matching where Zion lined up this past week to confuse people. Keeft, one hell of a blocking tight end, and then Andre Anthony didn't pan out. But J-Lo, correct me if I'm wrong, that draft class is actually turning out to be a pretty damn good one. But a lot of people said Light should have almost lost his job for it this offseason. It's ridiculous.
The fact that fans will say that about Jason Light is just wild. Sometimes it takes players time to develop. They're all not going to play well right away. I mean, Warren Sapp didn't play well his first year as a rookie, but then he got better the next year. Sometimes some players take a little time to get used to the NFL level. Like Zion McCollum was injured last year at the beginning of the season, so he didn't really get his feet wet until the season started.
And we tried to change Godecki's position last year. That's not his fault.
Exactly. No, I mean, Gadecki had to learn the game of football. And now look at him, the dominant right tackle, pancaking motherfuckers. I mean, you got to love that shit. And then Keats, contributor. And then, of course, Rashad White, he's an all-around back looking like, just keep moving the ball best he can. I'm telling you, I mean, we're building, a good franchise. into a possible winning culture, which I feel we already are now. Even though last year was a losing season with the record, but we still won the division, made the playoffs. But no, I mean, and you're right. You can't judge the book by its cover. You can't, because you gotta give players time to develop. It's just like he hit a home run with this past draft. I mean, these players are coming in and just freaking kicking some ass out there. And Kalijah Kancey was unblockable, man. He was getting in there, shutting down the run, getting pressure on Jalen Hurts. I mean, this kid is special. And Ian Beckles last night, I was watching his pod, and he said he's performed way better than Gerald McCoy has ever had his career in Tampa, which is wild to me. Not to down Gerald McCoy or anything. I thought he was a good player here. But
Cansey was a raging bull. That's how you describe Cansey, a raging bull. That's what he was out there on Monday, J-Lo. He was making play after play. He was living in the backfield of Philadelphia. You could tell Jalen Hurts and DeAndre Swift wanted no part of Kalijah Cansey. Neither did that O-line. He's been incredible. As Mike chimes in, Baker later, like a $30 million guy, despite the drop passes by 88 and 13. And we'll get into that, but the drops, I know it could have been a lot bigger of a day, but hell, Mike Evans, as great as he is, J-Lo, we've talked about it time to time. Evans will have a couple of those a season, and it is what it is. His greatness makes up for those, but if you're familiar with Bucs ball, those Evans drops don't really surprise you anymore. They just don't. There's only a couple a year, but those are expected here and there. That's why I'm not worried about the drops by Evans. And then Cade Otton, that guy made up for it, man. He more than made up for it. He had 90 receiving yards, 9 receptions. So I'm not really worried about those drop passes. And quite frankly, those didn't hurt Baker's numbers at all, because the Mike Evans drop, a couple plays later, David Moore had that long touchdown. That David Moore long touchdown would have never happened without that Evans drop. So J-Lo kind of works out evenly in the stat sheet. Yeah, we had some drops here and there, but it seemed like Bucs receivers were picking up after one another and helping out their quarterback right where a guy would drop it. A guy like David Moore would step in and make a huge play.
No, I couldn't agree more. Cade Otton, man, that dude was a uncurlable tight end, man. They really got him the ball, which is awesome because I think he's a great pass catching tight end. The blocking, will come in time. And, Mike's going to have his drops. I mean, it happens. And thank God, other players stepped up to kind of help back up Mike. It's a team effort, Like Mike, he's made great catches in the past and stuff. But also, give your flowers to, Trey Palmer and David Moore, who also just stepped it up along with Cade Otton. I mean, hell, even Payne Durham got a nice little catch and got some yards too. So this offense is coming around in general. And I feel like Mike is going to make up for those drops in the next game.
As my man David Ferrara is tuned in on Facebook, a great realtor in the great city of Tampa. If you need any realtor needs, go check out David Ferrara and what him and his team have to offer. I'm sure it'll work out great. Christopher Cole says Bowles was playing chess while that Eagles offense was playing checkers. You know what my favorite formation was defensively, Christopher? When Kalijah Cansey lined up at linebacker, I pointed out to the people watching with me, look at Levante David. He was on the front defensive line. Kalijah Cansey was in linebacker. That was incredible. How do you even game plan for that if you're Jalen Hurts and co? Oh, and then by the way, you see a big man, Kalijah Cansey, running right at you up the middle. It was amazing to see and beautiful to see. And really, it was really the best coach game that we've had since the Chiefs by Todd Bowles. To me, he's done a great job all season, but it was his best coaching performance since the Chiefs Super Bowl game, and those formations showed it. And man, JTS gets better by the week in his type of hybrid role he's in. As I got my Mike Evans Christmas Day shirt on for his MVP in the community, but JTS was an MVP in his new role. I think he's done an incredible job. He got a sack. We talked about, would you bet on JTS getting a sack? I sure as hell did, and that paid off in great fashion. Mike D says Bucs playoff game was not a sellout. That's all right. I'd rather have it like this, Mike. then have 4,000 more Eagles fans there. That could be a part of it too. So yeah, sure. Maybe not a sellout, 64,000 in attendance, great. But the less Eagles fans there, the better. So I'm not sweating over those 4,000 no tickets. A lot of Eagles fans would have been in those seats, and maybe the Bucs had something behind that. So we'll see if we get any word on the attendance and if Bucs try to limit the Eagles buying the tickets. We've talked about it on episodes past. Tyler says fans of any team will bitch if you're not. Not true. That is not true. Indianapolis Colts, they never really go for the flashy and dashy names. You don't hear shit from their fan base. They're a bunch of loyal fans, and that's what the Bucs need more of, loyal fans. I'm sick of these fans who get all up in arms, all up in aim. J-Lo and I's attitude stayed the same here. Sure. Were we a little edgy at 4-7? Sure. But the playoffs are still a hope. We never jeopardized Jason Light's job. We still had talks about bringing back Baker at 4-7. The only thing we always said, and I was consistent of, is Todd Bowles needs to get to the playoffs to save his job. Other than that, I was a big fan of the Bucs 2022 draft class, despite the flashy names. I had a Logan Hall shirt right off the bat. I don't care he's not a household name. And that's the thing. You can't hit household names with every draft pick. And if you do, that's probably a problem on why a lot of those guys are still floating around, right? Would you rather have a Jalen Carter? Would you rather have a Kalijah Cansey? Carter, household name. Kalijah Cansey is not. Give me Cansey 10 times out of 10. And that's where Bears fans are terrible because they're always yelling, oh, we don't have a household name. They're always melting down. But, you look at fan bases like the Indianapolis Colts, like the New England Patriots, those types of teams. Are they always drafting household names? No. But you very often see them try and come for their general manager's job. And no offense, I know, Colts Patriots fans might be watching. It's not like they just had a Super Bowl 3 years ago, right? Jason Light just had a Super Bowl 3 years ago, brought Tom Brady to town. And, the 2020 draft, he had Wirfs, he had Antoine Winfield Jr., and you still had people calling for his job and bitching this offseason. So, Tyler, I get where you're coming from, but I disagree that any team's fan base would cause a riot over what the Bucs situation was this offseason. I agree some would. I disagree all would. And I'll start with the Colts, the Patriots, and those types of fan bases. Yaya Diaby may turn out to be a steal. He is a steal. A lot of people had him going round 4, round 5 potentially. We got him round 3. Some people said too high. J-Lo and I talked about this the other pod as well. There's no such thing as drafting a guy too high if they pan out. A lot of these draft calculators and draft nerds don't understand that either. They drafted him too high, they overdrafted him. How the hell are you going to be sitting on your couch in April and tell an NFL franchise that pays millions and millions of dollars to send scouts, to watch film, to do all this stuff? How are people going to tell an NFL franchise that they drafted a guy too high? So I think Diaby was a great pick and a steal of the draft, even though he was a third rounder, quote unquote, ahead of his projected round. Eddie, man, I love how at 4-7 people wrote this team off. J-Lo, we had 2 people on our pod write us off. Bucko the Bruce and Stunna. They were writing us off at 4-7. Then a lot of people on X. I remember the great JCL and friend of the programs. He writes for Sports Illustrated. He put up a poll at 4-7 because I will say, JC Allen, one of the better media members we have, he always had faith in the Bucs making the playoffs, and a lot of Bucs fans were hating on him for, we need to draft higher, we need to do this, we need to do that. And he put up a poll question on Twitter, on X, whatever the hell you want to call it. When we were 4-7, would you rather have the Bucs make the playoffs or would you rather have the Bucs tank? J-Lo, I don't know if you remember those results, but they were around 50-50. And that just shows how embarrassing of a fan base we could be sometimes. That should be 100-0 of wanting to make the playoffs. Am I right or am I right?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, we went through tragedy over the years after Gruden got fired, not making the playoffs, almost there, not getting the respect. And sometimes it's hard to like other Tampa Bay fans because They pout when things don't go the way that they want. And sometimes things don't go the way you plan. But why do you want to have that losing mentality for your team to lose? You root for your team at all costs. That's why the Eagle fans disrespected us because they travel no matter what, even though we outnumbered them the other night. But yeah, I mean, you nailed it on point. I mean, it's just sad that some of the fans wanted to act like that. I mean, we got a chance to run the division for a few more seasons at the way it's looking, and you want us to tank for a draft pick where like you said, Tones, there's no guarantee that that draft pick or quarterback's going to pan out. There's no guarantees in that. You can get a quarterback in the later rounds if you want, but now we got Baker Mayfield, who's probably going to be here for another couple of seasons of the way he's playing.
And exactly, J-Lo. All those people, J-Lo, saying QB, 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 you need a QB, you need a QB. Look at the NFC playoff picture for me, J-Lo. Let's go through. Jordan Love. What was anyone clamming for their teams to tank in the NFL draft to take Jordan Love? I know he was a first-round pick, mid to back end of the 20s, but were you seeing Packer? Oh, we got to tank for Jordan Love. We got to miss the playoffs. No. Bottom line is you could have been a playoff team and drafted Jordan Love. Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant. That means all 32 teams had a chance to take Brock Purdy over and over and over again. Was anyone tanking for Brock Purdy? Baker Mayfield, yeah, he was the number one pick of the draft, but nobody knew who the hell the number one overall pick of that draft was going to be. Some thought Josh Allen. Some thought Sam Darnold. A couple of interesting people thought Josh Rosen. A couple thought Baker, but not a lot of thought Baker. You know who was the 32nd pick of that draft? Lamar Jackson. So again, and Baker was written off right away, and now he rejuvenated his career. And then the last quarterback remaining, Jared Goff. Was he a high pick? Sure. But did he not get tossed to the curb by the Rams like he was some kind of hot garbage piece, kind of like Baker and the Browns? You see where I'm coming from? None of these four guys were built up, tanked for, put on a pedestal and said, hey, elite QB, J-Lo. Baker, AFC different picture. Sure, you got Lamar, you got Mahomes, you got Josh Allen, but J-Lo, correct me if I'm wrong, coming into this season, maybe Brock Purdy you had in your top four in the NFC, but that might even be a stretch. But no one coming into this year had these four NFC QBs as some of the top in the NFC, J-Lo. It was Jalen Hurts. It was Dak Prescott. It was Kyler Murray when he got healthy. It was Derek Carr and his big money. Number one overall pick, Bryce Young. Justin Fields. Kirk Cousins. Those were the guys getting all the hype and love. At the end of the day, these final four quarterbacks, J-Lo, barely got any love. And at the end of the day, no team had a tank for any of those four dudes. I know Goff and Mayfield were high draft picks. That's fine. But they were both thrown out by franchises. Anyone could have had Baker this offseason for $5 million. Anyone could have traded for Jared Goff from the Rams if they had a veteran QB to give back that they thought was an upgrade. Bottom line is, J-Lo, a lot of Bucs fans look foolish now for wanting to tank, especially with these NFC quarterbacks that remain.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, some of these fans are probably eating crow right now from other Bucs fans for, saying silly things like tanking for a quarterback. And don't forget Tom Brady. He was a 6th-round pick.
Who?
Tom Brady, pick
Kidding.
199, who won multiple Super Bowls. And teams had a chance to get him too. So really, it doesn't matter. And Jason Light has nailed the draft. And when the time's right, he'll pick the right quarterback. And and look, I know fans get mad when I bring this name up, but Kyle Trask, we're having for another year, so we really don't have to get a quarterback. We got
He's
Baker
a great
for
bench.
next year.
I love having him for next year, J-Lo. Just me, but I love having a guy like Trask as a backup for next year.
I totally agree. I mean, he's under contract for another year on the cheap, and he's getting another playbook. We're gonna have another year with Canales. I'm not saying Trask is the future here, so fans don't take it that direction. All I'm saying is that we don't have to draft a QB at the moment. I think we'll be fine drafting another key piece in the O line. But we'll talk about that in the offseason. That's just, right now we're competing for possibly a Super Bowl run, and fans, you can go out and apologize. The ones that want to open their
We don't
mouth.
need apologies. We got receipts, as Eddie says. Keep those receipts, J-Lo. We're
Okay.
keeping them. And like I
Okay.
told Stunna, I wasn't being mean, but I told Stunna this exact thing, J-Lo. You were on the pod watching us go back and forth. He said, "Oh, I'll get back on the ship if we beat the Eagles." It's too late. You should have been on the ship. We got a fucking home playoff game. And you're sitting there and you're going to say, "Oh, I'll get back on board if we win a playoff game." We're in the playoffs. You should be on board regardless, and that goes for all Bucs fans. I had some idiots on Twitter today because I tweeted this, as Christopher says, Lions secondary is not that good. Yeah, they're not that good in their comments either, and we'll get into that a little more. But yeah, Lions secondary is a little weak, especially Charlie CGJ. He's weak in terms of talking shit. He doesn't really know how to do it great. He's, tried to slap Bears players, Bucks players. He's just a mental midget. We'll get into Charlie Gardner loser here in a minute. But yeah, their secondary is not that good on and off the field. Mike D says, by no means am I dissing 13 or 88. I know you're not, Mike, but a lot of people were. And I don't think those drops were big, but not as big of a deal as some people built them up to be, in my opinion. Hey, nice Colts comments. I'm just telling the truth. They had a lot of good drafts in years past, and it's not like they were drafting kids with the biggest of names and brightest of lights, and it's not like their fan base was up in arms with the fist saying the Colts GM has to do this, he has to draft this, like the Bucs was. So Colts, their fans are kind fans. They're good people. Mike D, Bucs fan base at times very finicky. Very much so, Mike. Very much so. J-Lo and I know that. And, Stunna and I went back and forth. He said, he was not bought into this team. They were making a lot of mistakes. If you get into the playoffs, you better have your teams back. I don't find that quite well when, your own fan base doesn't have your back if you're in the dang playoffs. Being in the playoffs is being in the playoffs. So I was confused on some people and not being on board. Buccaneers defense, LFG, says Felix Lowe. It played incredible, and that's in part due to Todd Bowles. And J-Lo, thoughts on the defense quick? I thought they showed a lot of great things. We talked about it a little bit already, but, man, a lot of those looks, Kalijah Kancey at linebacker, JTS being a hybrid, Levante David lining up on the line. A lot of good and fun stuff there, J-Lo.
Yeah, and shout out to Felix Lowe. That's my brother who was at the game with me. Got to witness greatness on that defense, and the defense looked amazing. I mean, Todd Bowles, probably his best game as a head coach, calling the defensive plays.
Since the Chiefs game, but he was DC. I agree.
Yeah,
Head coach, way best game by far,
yes,
J-Lo.
agreed. And he looked confident in his press conference today, and yesterday as well. I mean, he seems very comfortable and he's toned in, ready to go. I mean, the defense just looked phenomenal. Jamel Dean, Carlton Davis got physical, proud of those guys. I mean, not CJ, my bad. Zion McCollum going in there and just making plays, because there was a play where Smith caught the ball up the middle, and he could have took off and got more yards, but he dove for his ankle and took him down. He's getting better at his tackling. So for me, seeing that man play at that position for the first time all season, I mean, Bowles definitely, he took a bold move, he gambled, and he won that gamble. And then who else? Even Yaya Diaby got banged up early in the game, I noticed, but he came back in. But like you said, Joe Trashenko stepped in there. It's a team effort, man. This defense played together, like a band of brothers that they did in the Super Bowl, and just shut it down. And one more thing I do want to add is KJ Britt got more snaps than Devin White.
He's a beast.
He is, and Devin White, I really hope, he doesn't let that ruin his play in the playoffs because KJ Britt, he went out there and played pretty good defense. I mean, Bowles put his big boy pants on. That's another thing I was concerned about, his love for Devin White, and he's scared to bench him. But no, let's just say he game planned better, kind of like he did JTS as a role player. Now, fans may not like that, but I don't care. You win by any means possible. You put the players that go out there and play, make the plays at any cost. That's my take on the defense.
Yeah, I agree with you, J-Lo. And just getting back to the fans a little bit, I did have a tweet out there that, I thought was a pretty good one. It got some interaction. Some people commented. And, I tweeted it yesterday. And I just said this, explaining to the next generation of Bucs fans now, half the Bucs own fan base, I'm sorry, I'll restart. My tweet yesterday was this, explaining to the next generation of Bucs fans how half the Bucs own fan base wrote them off in 2023, wanted Bowles fired, hated Baker's guts, and wanted tank mode engaged, couple other things. And a lot of fans are still saying Bowles has to go. They beat one team with the winning record. Let's not overdo it. The media in Tampa is still in love with Dungy, who's a loser. And then this one guy says, I've been hugely vocal. I want to see my team better. This one guy said, Bowles is still a DC. It's way too wild, J-Lo, that our fan base is still thinking about this. That Bowles isn't the guy after what he's done. And I think he's done an incredible job. And even Pat McAfee said, he was doing an incredible job out there. So I'm not really sure, J-Lo, what's wrong and, why a lot of these people got to continue to hate on Todd Bowles. But, I think you got to continue to ride with your team regardless, win or lose. We booze, baby, is, the great Frank Caliendo once said. I'm trying to find this exact. Oh, one guy said, if the team plays like Philly did last night in Detroit, then Bowles has to go. Someone said, yada yada yada. Let's see. I was a Bulls got to go guy. Still might be. They still hate his guts though about Baker. It's like, a lot of LOL. Someone. Oh, this was a tweet. LOL. You act like that's some kind of issue when the team was 4-7. That's what fans do, weirdo. You're calling me a fucking weirdo for being a fan of my team, for sticking by us at 4-7 and calling out your hateful comments. You probably had the pitchfork at Bull's house when we were 4-7, when we were one game back of the division, 1.5 back a wild card, 1.5 back a wild card, 1 game back of the division. I don't care what the record is. I don't care if we're 0-10 at that point. If we're 1 game back of the division and 1.5 back a wild card, that means we're in playoff contention in mid-November. Don't tell me, Nick M on Twitter, you act like that's some kind of issue when fans do that, you weirdo. You and the fans hating are the weirdos. Am I right or am I wrong? I mean, this is ridiculous. People are still wanting Bowles to prove himself this week. It's crazy. And then people say, oh, when we stink, we should demand firings. We should do this. No, that's childish, J-Lo. Just childish.
Well, here's the question to that freaking prick or anybody else. Who in the hell would you have replaced Bowles from the get-go? Has he not watched the locker room and how the players are behind Bowles? I mean, why don't fans look into that? Instead of looking at the games, how about you look, in the locker room? These players love Bowles. You let Bowles go, you're going to lose half that team. Think about that.
You're going to lose Dave Canales.
You're going to lose Dave Canales. You could possibly lose Mike Evans. Because even Mike Evans said in the past he loves Todd Bowles, and he's behind Todd Bowles. I mean, fans are just so delusional, man. And it's sad to say that, I love my fellow Bucs fans, but there's just some that just don't see the bigger picture here.
I love most of them. I'm not going to say I love all of them because I don't. I'll be flat out honest. I love most of them. Most of us Bucs fans are great. 90% of us are great. Then you got your 10% that's the bottom of the barrel, sticky strawberry that just wants to be a bad strawberry. You buy, J-Lo, you buy a huge batch of strawberries, right? And 90 to 95% of them you want to eat. They look great. You want to put them in the produce section. Then that 5 or 10% looks a little soggy, a little nasty. That's like the Bucs fan base. You got 90 to 95% that are so great. They're with this team through thick and thin. Is the great JCL and the millions from Sports Illustrated and the Pirate Parlay Sick Podcast Network says, yo, if anyone missed it with JC, we had a great pod last week. Incredible time. But J-Lo, some of our fans, just some, not a lot, but just some, as Christopher Cole says, new Bucs fans don't know the dark time of the late 80s and 90s. We were lucky to win 5 games back then and dreaming of a playoff game. Exactly. And on top of the late 80s and 90s, Christopher, but you hit a home run, that time between Gruden and Bruce Arians as well. We were lucky to win 9 games, 8 games, 7 games. We went 7-9 with Greg Schiano once, and I thought we were going to the damn Super Bowl because of that. You know, a lot of fans are newer. They don't understand the dark days and the Bucs ball and the yucks. We're the only team in the NFC to make the playoffs for 4 straight years. That's all I'm going to say. That is all I am going to say. As Mike D says, when you jump off the boat, you quit on the Bucs. So screw those ship jumpers. Exactly.
No,
You get
walk
off
the fucking plane. Walk
J-Lo,
the fucking plane.
when you get off the ship, you're off, right? When you're done, you're done.
No, agreed. Walk the plane, and just keep on swimming. Because let me tell you, if you really want to quit on your team over some close games that we lose, it happens. It's football. You're gonna lose some tough ones. But look at the bright side. We could be the Panthers where no one wants to work for that prick owner at all.
David Tepper throwing drinks at people.
Yeah. No, you guys show some appreciation for what you got. What's the term somebody said to me? We just can't have nice things because fans want to be fans. They want to have their opinion. They want their own coach and all that. But answer me these little doubters. Who would you prefer over Bowles as head coach that's available now?
Oh, Ben Johnson this, Ben Johnson that. Oh, these
Jim Harbaugh. Oh, let's just bring him down here because he won a fucking national championship. Fuck all that. You go with a guy who did a pretty good job picking Dave Canales. Maybe he was the 4th choice, but he picked a good offensive coordinator who's looking pretty legit, who's going to get better in the next few years, and like I said, the guy's already got a head coaching interview with the Panthers, even though I know the Panthers are using him as a tactic to figure out how can we see what the Bucs are doing to be successful. Some teams do that. But however, Todd Bowles has earned his spot. I know I was hard on him during the season, but I never wanted him to lose. I wanted him to get better. I wanted him to make better decisions. And so far,
you were always an advocate. You were always an advocate. If he got to the playoffs, you'd give him a breather, which is fair.
Yes, and so far, they exceeded my expectations. I was expecting a division win and a playoff appearance, honestly, at the beginning of the season. And they won a playoff game, and they beat the NFC defending champions. No matter how beat up their team is, they still have more talent on paper. People want to compare. And you know what? And that's fine. Let the fans pick what they want to pick. At the end of the day, I'm going to root for my team. I'm going to root for Todd Bowles. I'm going to root for Canales. I'm going to root for the whole fucking roster, man.
Everybody, from number 1 to number 99, to the coaching staff, to the equipment manager, to the guys selling popcorn in the concessions. The great J-Lo and I will have all those guys and ladies back 100 times out of 100 because we love our team. We love our city. We're prideful. As our guy Neil L says, what it do? What it do? We're already 40 minutes in, J-Lo. That's insane. I don't know if I've been blowing through rants or if I've been a little hyped up, but man, the fact we're already 45 minutes in, damn near, I'm ready to go 4 hours, baby. Let's go. Let's go.
The fact that we're 2 games away from the Super Bowl is just exciting as shit. It's exciting because you never know what's gonna happen.
But we should have tanked. We should have got a top 10 pick.
Oh yeah, let's just tank and just fire everybody and start.
Hayden Daniels would have won us the Super Bowl next year.
Oh no! Let's just trade up. Let's just trade all our roster and our draft picks, like fucking Carolina, for freaking Caleb Williams, who I don't think is going to be that good. But that's just something to talk about another time.
These goofballs, J-Lo. These goofballs. Neil, what it do? That's our guy. Please like,
Scallywags.
subscribe and share on YouTube, as Neil always says. Turn that notification bell on. That's our guy right there. Johnny Thompson. I was super proud of our Bucs, and Baker was balling and spreading the ball around using the tight ends. That is how you open up the scoring opportunities. Some idiot from Detroit called in the Ronnie and T Crash show today. And by the way, shout out to Tom Krasnicki for that marathon on Monday. The man was on Tampa radio for 9-10 hours. I know a lot of people always hate on the Bucs radio station and some of those guys. I think they're great, a lot of them. And his effort was heroic and barbaric. He did the Ronnie and T Crash show by himself. Then he did the pregame show by himself. And he did the postgame show by himself. He was on for like 9 or 10 hours. But that aside, some Detroit idiot called in today to Tampa Sports Radio and said, we're going to lock down the Bucs. They're a two-man show. Two-man show? Do something. Do something and pick up a book, you moron. Baker Mayfield hit 9 different targets. 9 on Monday night. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7, not 8, but 9. You know who's not even active anymore? Rakim Jarrett. That's how deep we got at wide receiver, because David Moore is getting more entrenched in the playbook by the week. Trey Palmer is getting a little less rookie-ish by the week, making a little more plays. Man, I'm sick of these haters. I agree with you, Johnny Thompson. I was super proud of the Bucs as well. Sometimes it's not pretty, but a win is exactly that. And you know what's hilarious to me? Everybody said, last 2 games of the year, man, those Buccaneers played ugly. When is it ever pretty against your own division? Am I wrong for thinking a Saints loss, or only loss in the last 6 games, we deserve the mulligan? No. You see great divisions and you see bad divisional teams beating good divisional teams all the damn time. That's nothing new. And it's not like the Saints are a bad team. They had 8 wins this year. And then we beat
Actually 9. They had 9 wins, Tones.
Thank you. 9 wins, 9 and 8. Yeah, I forgot they won the last week of the year and they needed some help to get into the playoffs. But great point, J-Lo.
But here's another thing. Not to cut you off, Tones.
No, go for it.
When they were talking about the Carolina game, they only kicked field goals. Well, tell me this. In 02 season, how many games did we win by just field goals alone? At my top of my head, I say 2. Mm-hmm. In Carolina, 12-9.
Against Atlanta once, I think.
No, it was in Carolina and in Chicago on the road, the last game of the season before they hit the playoffs. So they want to talk about those games. And guess what? Carolina had the number 3 defense in the league. You can't look past that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like we're playing against a bunch of scrubs on the defense side of the ball. At the end of the day, these fans want to turn, not just the fans, but the media alone. Even the media wasn't really praising us at all. They were talking about, what's wrong with the Eagles? What happens? Next year aren't getting fired. Fuck all that.
And my apology, Carolina or Atlanta, we won 20-6, J-Lo. So we could have won with just field goals, but that's what I was thinking of. We could have won with just field goals, but you were right. The games that year, Carolina, we won 12-9, and Chicago 15-0. And you look at some of those other games, J-Lo, like I said, could have probably won that. Atlanta won 9-6 with 3 field goals. We beat Cleveland 17-3. We could have won that one with field goals. Sometimes that's how football's played, J-Lo. And to your point, Baker Mayfield wasn't 100% either.
No, he wasn't. But there's a term that Herm Edwards said: you play to win the game at all costs, no matter what happens.
Yep, and you remember the Colts from the Peyton Manning era. They had a game in Baltimore when Ray Lewis and all those guys are still around. They kicked field goal after field goal after field goal after field goal. They won that game by a couple of field goals because they kept scoring. Sometimes you got to keep scoring, even if it's 3. Those 3s add up. Look at Nick Sirianni. Todd Bowles outcoached that. Oh man, I'm not gonna call him anything. I'm not gonna go there. But that guy has such a smackable face and acts like such a D-bag half the time. he is a crab ass. He is such a crab ass, and his team quit on him, and I wonder why. He must be doing some weird stuff. But anyways, Bowles outcoached Sirianni like crazy. Guess what he should have done? Twice. Took the points, took the extra point, and took the 3 points, and it would have been a close game at one point in time. What did his outsmart young coach brain do? He went for 2, tried the tush push. Probably my favorite play of the game, too. Stuff in the tush push. Greg Gaines went sacrificial mode, and Greg Gaines was on the damn ground rolling around like a pawn, but that worked brilliantly, and Todd Bowles had a great game plan for that. Sirianni did not. Then Sirianni made a field goal. Zion McCollum went offsides for the second time on special teams. Not good. Got to fix that, Zion. But then Sirianni took 3 points off the board, tried to get the first down to no avail. J-Lo, sometimes it's simple. Take the points. Take the damn points. As Mike D says, my opinion, I thought 98 had a great game. He was a very solid player, good depth guy. Anthony Nelson. Anthony fucking Nelson is tremendous. And me and my pop seen him come on like a damn rocket last year. That guy, his ceiling is so far up. A lot of Bucs fans says they didn't want to bring him back. He is one of the best rotational depth guys you can ask for. He gives it his all. He doesn't complain about playing time. He's often in the backfield like a damn wrecking ball. He's great at stopping the run. And Iowa produces those type of football players. The quiet guys, the big guys, the ones who get their nose in the dirt. That's Big Ten football. Anthony Nelson had a fantastic game. He's the one who causes safety, and he should have got credit with his sack there, but Jalen Hurts took the easy way out, threw the ball in the dirt, and all of that stuff. Johnny T says, I got big love for Vita, Cansey, and Yaya. Them boys held it down. That is Tampa Bay ball. I agree with you, Johnny, but I'm also going to throw in Will Golston. He had a hell of a game, and if you guys aren't familiar with John Ledyard from Animals and Autolytics podcast, formerly with the Pewter Report Company, he does a tremendous job at breaking down film on X or Twitter, whatever the hell you called it. He had a couple of really good Will Golston videos and clippings of Golston just dominating all-pro right tackle Lane Johnson. This Bucs front seven is tremendous, and it's dangerous. It's ferocious. Vita, Cansey, Yaya, Will Golston. We were talking about Anthony Nelson. Even Big Mike Green, who's been sick. Whoever it is, whoever is playing, Greg Gaines, the sacrificial lamb for the tush push. It's been incredible. And Greg Gaines was one of those bargain bin buys that we had this offseason with Jason Light. That was awesome. Olive says you always rant, JK. Hey, I'll rant to you later.
Yeah, go away.
Yeah. No cheeseheads allowed. She was rooting for Julio and Matt Patricia. It's like, what are you doing? But, she came around pretty quick. Christopher Cole, how about the Saints firing their entire offensive staff when their offense was finally clicking? Yeah, they got familiarity there at the end. And J-Lo, I think probably John Gruden will probably be their OC. What say you? I'm thinking John Gruden is probably going to be the Saints offensive coordinator.
Possibly, but right now he's in the middle of a lawsuit with Roger Goodell in the NFL right now. So until that gets settled, which we won't know, I know he went to a courtroom with them, I think about a week ago. So until that lawsuit's dropped, I don't see him coaching right now.
I don't think that prohibits him, though, from coaching in legal terms, because Brian Flores kind of flipping the script. He was suing the NFL, and he got, or suing the Dolphins and their owner and everything, and he got another chance on his staff. So I know it's a different story, different circumstance with Gruden, but you never know, J-Lo. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I mean, you never know. I mean, I could be wrong. You know what I mean? It just depends on what the Saints are looking for. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I mean, this offense coordinator was with the team since 2009, I guess, from what I read. And I guess they want to go in a different direction, and which is fine. Go in a different direction. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, Atlanta, I think they're a coach away and a QB away from being competitive, not being a contender, but being competitive. And then Carolina is oh my God, dumpster fire. That's all I can say about them. But back to the Saints, hey, go get your new offensive coordinator. and better luck next year.
Couldn't agree more. And then Mike says, my only concern, just signed 13-6. I would hate to see 13 on a different team. That's why we have Mike Greenberg, John Spytek, Jason Light. They're going to figure it out. We got a lot of moving parts this offseason. Yes, Antoine Winfield Jr. is a free agent. Yes, next year Tristan Wirfs is a free agent. Baker, Levante David, Mike Evans, Devin White, Chase McLaughlin, they're all going to be free agents this year. But we got a playoff path to take care of. Let's figure that out after the season. Pack it away for now, and we'll figure it out. The Bucs front office always does. Remember, after we won the Super Bowl in 2020, everybody was so scared and nervous about the amount of free agents that the Buccaneers had. We did a hell of a job of bringing them all back. We only lost the likes of Ryan Smith and other backups, Bo Allen, those type of players. So, I wouldn't be too worried about it. I wouldn't be too concerned, especially right now in the midst of a playoff run. Christopher Cole says Logan Hall even showed up. Speaking of showing up, what's insane, J-Lo? We're going to talk about Todd Bowles and his work ethic here a minute. Todd Bowles was asked today because after the Monday night game, they said, how are you going to celebrate? He said, hopefully get an 8 hours of sleep. So they were asking him questions today about his preparation and whatnot. And to summarize what Todd Bowles said was, being a defensive coordinator, I was getting in at 5:30, and then I started getting in at 4:30. Then when I got named a head coach, now I'm a 3:20 guy. I used to be a 5:30 guy, a 4:30 guy, but now I'm in the building at 3:20. It's tiring. I'm getting older. I don't have a long time left in this league. And I guess Joe Bucs fan made it seem like Todd Bowles didn't have a long time left on the planet, because I got a shout out from a great Bucs fan, a really good Bucs fan gave me a shout out. Thank you, sir. Josh Heichman, what a great guy on Twitter. He said, this explanation, talking about mine, he goes, this explains the exchange way better than Joe Bucs fan, a credentialed outlet. He said they made it sound like Todd was going to kick the bucket before 70. We don't do that on the Buccaneers. I just bring you the truth. And then Todd Bowles said, a reporter brought up Bruce Arians coach until he was in his 70s. Bowles said, I ain't coaching until I'm 70. But J-Lo, quickly, thoughts on Todd Bowles, his work ethic? He's busting his ass. He's showing up at 3:20 a.m. He ain't going to bed until 10, 11, or midnight. He probably gets 3 to 5 hours of sleep a night on average. And he's out there charismatic every day. He's a great media guy every day, just like that nice young lady asked him, hey, the weather in Detroit's going to be this. Todd Bowles didn't embarrass her at all. He played it out to her. But J-Lo, his work ethic is unmatched. And I love this guy. For better or for worse, Todd Bowles is a hell of a guy. He already is more successful than Bill Belichick in his post-Brady era. Belichick's still waiting to win a playoff game post-Brady. He's had 4 years. This is Todd Bowles' first season with life without Brady, and he already has a playoff win. And then for as much love and credit, and I love Mike McDaniel, but damn, that guy gets his shoes shined by fans. He doesn't even have a playoff win under his belt. Todd Bowles has just as many playoff appearances and just as many years as Mike McDaniel, and another playoff win. So, J-Lo, quickly, thoughts on Bowles' work ethic and just the leader that Todd Bowles is in general?
No, I mean, Bowles, he's played in the NFL. He knows what the game is. And, and he loves his team. He wants to, go out there and coach his best and prove all the haters wrong. He likes being the underdog. He's lived the life of the underdog mentality over the years of him coaching, thinking he's one they're going to make it, and now, he's just putting it all out there. It's crunch time. Sometimes you got to make adjustments, to be better. And that's what he did. I mean, he's sacrificing, sleep, maybe time with his family. I know one of his sons is in college right now at Georgia, so it's, it can be hard at times, but he keeps it straight and narrow. He goes into the game coaching, he's ready to go, ready to get these players going, and how can you not like a coach like that? I mean, he's straightforward, I feel like. I mean, there's some questions he's not going to answer straight up. No coach would. But,
Only the ones, there's too many. I remember last year, some nice lady, won't mention her name, Coach, during practice this week, there were a lot of B's on the Buccaneers goalpost. What did you think about? I mean, some of these questions, it's like, hello. And then the one the other day, hey, the weather is going to be 13 degrees in Detroit. How are you prepping your guys for that? They're in a dome. So Bowles does a great job of handling himself, handling the media. Great work ethic on his behalf. Mike D says, is Mike Evans Canton-bound when career's over? That's not a doubt. I think first ballot, J-Lo.
Agreed. No, he's first ballot all day. There's no way they're gonna pass on him. He's first ballot. And as far as him leaving, Mike's not going nowhere. You know, you gotta remember with the contract controversy, it's an agent tactic. He's trying to get him paid one more bit time because he's not gonna get another big contract to this. So of course, you know, Mike's gonna be entertaining that. But I just don't see Mike leaving. I think he's gonna finish his career as a Buck. He's the greatest offensive player that we've ever had. Besides,
Even if he did leave, though, I think no doubt first ballot still.
yeah, but I don't see him leaving. I don't see him leaving. I've been saying that most of the season. Even at 4-7, you know, when the doubters were doubting, you know, Mike loves his community and everything good's gonna come to him. And if he
Well, I
leaves,
think he, as Jason, and we'll get into, there's going to be a whole off season to get
yeah,
into these
yeah,
free agents, but
yeah.
I remember one quote, J-Lo, at the beginning of the year, JCL, and I think you might have been sitting in on the pod before you were officially a member. He said, this is the best Mike Evans has ever looked entering a season. And I not doubted him in terms of, Mike not being able to do that, but Mike's looked great coming into every season, but you could tell, J-Lo, this year, he's on another level.
Oh, he is. You know, he's always out to prove doubters wrong in the most quiet way. You know, he's not a prima donna like AJ Brown, Antonio Brown, all these little prima donnas. He's a guy that wants to help this team win. And that's what I love about him. You know, he wants to win football games and he'll help create cap space. He'll do whatever it takes. Now, you know, him being a Hall of Famer, to me, he already is one. He's been one the last couple seasons, if you ask me. You know, I mean,
Definitely. And Ring of Honor.
without a question, but yet he deserves a statue outside the stadium. That's how respected he is in this
I think
community.
him and Levante both do. Hell, I think Will Golston deserves a Ring of Honor at this point as well, given what he's done on and off the field, and he's been a Buck his whole career. Speaking of career, obviously Baker's had an interesting one. A lot of guys love to hate on the guy. I just don't get it. He's a great locker room guy. They gave him bulletin board material today, and they is the Detroit Lions. And J-Lo, to me, that's a big mistake. The pain in the ass loser douchebag, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who, when he was with the Saints, he would always try and start shit with the Bucs receivers, sometimes even the Bears receivers. When they played in the playoffs, I remember Weems on the Bears, their returner, smacked him in the helmet. C.J. Gardner-Johnson said the following, though. This group probably is one of the better groups we've done faced all year, besides the Tampa group. If you give that Tampa group a good quarterback, that's a great group. He ended up quoting about Russell Gage being in the receiving core. Obviously doesn't pay attention too much if he's mentioning Russell Gage, as he's been out for the year, but Baker Mayfield simply replied with, hey, you got to get in the film room. You got to watch film more. You're a hell of a player, but if you're quoting, Charlie, or if you're quoting about Russell Gage, here's Baker's exact quote. I don't think he was really watched film because he mentioned Russell Gage. We love Russell, but Russell hasn't played a snap all year for us. He must be going off the preseason stuff. He is a hell of a player. So Baker gave him his kudos, gave him his props, but they gave him bulletin board material. And Christopher says that question wasn't on the woman, it's on her producer, editor for not keeping her informed. Yeah, back and forth, Christopher. It's on both. It's truly on both. If she's in the credentialed media room, you need to, and we've all asked bad questions. We've all made bad tweets, right? We've all gotten our crap for it, and I wouldn't even crap on her for it. I'm just saying, you got to be more prepared than that. Sure, the producer or whoever else could have been more prepared too, but come on. A lot of these people asking questions ask those questions themselves. But J-Lo, thoughts on the bulletin board material that Baker Mayfield has received from the Lions?
I mean, they're haters, man. They're just trying to get in his head, try to piss him off. Go ahead. I like pissed off Baker. Could piss off Baker, plays well. And CJ Gardner-Johnson, guess what? Buddy's on his third team. Obviously, he's on his third team for a reason. Because he obviously, maybe he's not watching film. And honestly, he's not that good. I mean, yeah, you could be a crap talker, but he's not elite. He's just a guy to me. And he is a Florida Gator, and I'm a Gator fan. And it's funny how he's been opening his mouth in the NFL because he made it. Because at Florida, he was getting pumped a lot at Florida, if you want to be really truthful. But at the end of the day, say what you want to say. Baker handled it professionally, and he pretty much threw a little shit. He threw a little shit back at him, and good. I'm glad he did. Because at the end of the day, I can't wait till we play that moron. Let's see how well you tackle when you try to go tackle a guy like David Moore, Trey Palmer, guys you didn't mention in the receiving core. You can talk about Mike and Chris all you want, or even Russell Gage, and it's such he got hurt. But if you really did your homework, you would have talked about those guys instead of bringing up, Russell Gage, who hasn't played all year.
Yeah, and then he came out with another tweet. Then he deleted the tweet because he knew he was wrong. But he replied to Baker saying, "I do watch film. Ask the QB before you, my guy." Mentioning Tom Brady, iPad situation number 2, loading where Brady threw the iPad. The best revenge and the best medicine would be throw some touchdowns on him and beat him. And really, really, you'll shut up a punk that does that. But one more quick thing on Baker here, J-Lo. NFL Total Access came out with their quarterback playoff rankings 1 through 8. They rank Lamar Jackson the best, Josh Allen number 2, Mahomes number 3, Goff number 4, Stroud number 5, Jordan Love 6, Brock Purdy 7, Baker Mayfield number 8. Thoughts on that quick before we move on to a couple more things?
Not surprising. They're going to count Baker as an underdog throughout the playoffs. Not surprising at all. Even though I take Baker over a couple of those guys. But that's fine. Let the haters down. Like I said, they weren't really giving our flowers the last couple of days. They just kept talking about losing teams, why they lost, more than how about the Bucs,
Yeah, and initial injury reports out as well, J-Lo. Briefly, we're only going to go over the did not participate. The Lions had 2 guys that didn't participate, center Frank Ragnow and wide receiver Khalif Raymond. And then you look at the Bucs side, Shaq Barrett didn't participate, Yaya Diaby didn't participate. You could see he got visibly shaken in that game. Hopefully he's okay. I think he will be. Chase Edmonds and Godwin did not participate as well. Thoughts on the injury report quick? Nothing too concerning to me. Guys like Godwin and Shaq were in and out of practice all year. They're veteran guys. They don't really need it too much. I think Diaby will be okay. He got bruised up a little bit, and I think Edmonds will be okay as well. What are your thoughts on the injury report?
To me, I think it's more of a rest day. There were more walkthroughs. That's what it was today. They went inside instead of pressing outside, and it was more of a walkthrough. I think we'll see those guys. If not tomorrow, definitely Friday. They got a little banged up, and sometimes you just gotta rest them. And I think they earned that right to rest.
Yeah, and it's another interesting thing here. In the Bucs broke the Eagles. The Eagles are already reaching out to coaches and coordinator candidates. That's hilarious. So the Bucs definitely broke the Eagles there. But speaking of break, you guys are watching the Buccaneers, and we break down it all here on the Buccaneers. We will be back here on Friday night with you guys at the same time, 6:20 Eastern on Feel Good Friday. We're going to give our previews, our score predictions, our player of the game predictions, and so much more. And then Sunday, we'll be back with Breakfast with the Buccaneers playoff edition, or Brunch with the Buccaneers, depends on what time to be announced yet. But Friday and Sunday, we'll be back, and you guys are watching us either on YouTube Live, on Facebook under the Bucs Life LLC umbrella, or you guys could catch an instant replay on Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, Deezer, so much more here on the Buccaneers. Keep up with us on X at Buccaneers, BUCCATEERS, or keep up with us on Instagram as well at Buccaneers Pod, BUCCATEERS Buccaneers Pod. J-Lo, Tampa versus Detroit, all-around rematch. Very interesting. When we played the Lions way back in October, it was our creamsicle game. Remember that? It was Raymond James looking like the old sombrero. That was October 15th. The Lions beat the Bucs 20-6 that day, and the Red Wings beat the Lightning that day as well. So you had a double Tampa Detroit score affair that day, and Detroit took both games. Red Wings won 6-4 over the Lightning, and then the Lions won 20-6 over the Bucs. You know what's ironic? The Lightning play again this Sunday when the Bucs play in Detroit. So we got another Tampa Detroit doubleheader, just like we did the 15th of October. The 21st of January, we have a doubleheader. And J-Lo, you could actually go to both games if you're a Tampa fan. Tampa plays the Lions at 2 o'clock, or 3 o'clock Eastern, I'm sorry. Then the Lightning Red Wings play at 7 Eastern. So, J-Lo, thoughts on the city of Tampa maybe getting some redemption against Detroit, and the irony of October 15th, you had Bucs Lions and Red Wing Lightning, and now Sunday, January 21st. Who do you have? Bucs Lions and Red Wings Lightning.
Yeah, man, revenge tour. The Lightning have been up and down this year, but this would be a good motivation. Right now, importantly, Bucks playoff game coming up. You know, the Lions won round one. Let's see how they do round two. Just like the Eagles. The Eagles beat us the first time, and guess what? We slapped them right back and knocked them out of the playoffs. Could be same scenario. We already know what they ran. We did a pretty good job shutting down the run game last game. But Goff picked us apart. Throwing the ball around. So you already know Bowles has got a game plan going on, ready to go. I'm telling you right now, you're going to see a much closer, better competitive game than you saw back in October. Because remember, we were still trying to identify our offense on the fly. Yeah, it was after a bye week, but we're still kind of early in the season. So sometimes it's good to lose the first time in order to play another game and be in the second time.
And that first time was, a lot of creamsicle hype, not blaming uniforms or anything like that, but you could have been distracted from the game. This time it's business, Lightning and Bucs. Let's go for 2 Sunday. If tickets weren't so damn expensive, I'd be there. I still might be there, but I'd definitely be there if they weren't $700 for damn nosebleeds. Standing room honestly sounds cheap at $420. It's wild, man. Those tickets are wild. J-Lo, what's your one big thing to look out for this Sunday? When Toe Meets Leather, 3 o'clock. We are on NBC, by the way. Chris Collinsworth and Mike Tirico are on the call. We're technically the Sunday night crew. As playoffs, it gets all conjumbled and jumbled up of who gets what because people get first choice, etc. But Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, when they're on the call Sunday, 3 o'clock Eastern on NBC, what's your one big thing you're watching out for, either in the game, announcer-wise, station-wise? What's one big thing you're looking out for this Sunday?
I'm looking out to see how Detroit is going to be ready to play or not. Because I think they were a little shaken up, in the first game against the Rams. And let's see how prepared they're really going to be when they come play a team they already beaten before, but the pressure's on them. I think we're riding sky high, so I'm looking to see the Bucs also give that same effort they did Monday night. Go in there, just sling the ball, play good defense, get after Goff and don't give him a lot of time to throw the football. Because I feel like, if you give Goff time, he's just going to pick apart the secondary, which has been up and down.
Yeah, I agree with you. You got to get after Goff, and that's one thing the Chicago Bears did incredible this year when they beat the Lions. They got after Goff, and the Rams tried, but you could tell their defense ain't like it used to be built, right? A lot of rookies, a lot of newbies on that line. They just couldn't quite get to Goff, and they tried to throw him off his spot. Just didn't work. But teams like the Packers, Bears, they pressured Goff, and he folded like a cheap suit. We'll see if that happens as well here with the Bucs. I think, Bowles is going to have the game of his life. I think they're really going to attack Jared Goff, and I think Bowles is going to continue to build off his strong showing. And my one big thing to look out for on Sunday is look for Canales, the OC. Look for Casey Rogers, Larry Foote, and Todd Bowles, the defensive guys. Open up their playbooks, continuing to open them up, get guys involved, show different looks, do a lot of stuff we haven't seen this regular season. This is going to be a whole different game against Detroit than what we've seen way back in October. The great J-Lo, what's your final word here for the program on this beautiful Wednesday night of the Buccaneers, brother?
Yeah, my final word is, it's a great day in Tampa Bay. We're still in the playoffs. Got a chance. We're only 2 games away from the Super Bowl, people. The real fans have been here. Keep cheering and ignore all that Twitter rain from all these little moron butt fans and then that knucklehead in Detroit. Ignore him too, because you know what? It's going to be a long day for him. We're in for a real treat Sunday, fellas.
He's going to get cooked by Otten. He's going to get cooked by Palmer. He's going to get cooked by 3-2-1. Chris Godwin over the middle. Baker to Godwin. Godwin, you could run. Touchdown, Chris Godwin. He's going to get baked by Godwin, by Mike Evans. That was my Gene Decker off, by the way. That loser, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, is going to get cooked, baked, and shredded like a little sad fucking puppy this Sunday when Evans, Godwin, and the fellas are done with him. That's my one final word. Look for that loser to get shredded. Fuck that guy. Fuck all the haters. This is Tampa territory. 813 time. We're gonna
raise the flags.
We're gonna make a stand this Sunday. Raise the flags. Neil says LFG. Let's fucking go. As Tom Brady always said, let's fucking go. I'm amped. J-Lo's amped. I know the rest of the guys are amped. Well, the ones that didn't jump ship, trying to swim back on the ship. But J-Lo, it's always a pleasure going to war with you, brother. This is the fastest episode I could remember. It felt like a snap of a finger. We're almost at an hour and 20, brother. Always a pleasure with you, my man. Hope you have a great rest of your Wednesday, J-Lo. And I know you are, as much as me, looking forward to this fucking Sunday for Bucs football.
You already know, man. Like I said, fire the fucking cannons and let's get prepared and let's go in Detroit and fucking keep them at home and come back with a W, baby. Let's do it.
No man left behind. Let's go into Detroit. Let's kick some ass. I hope the Lightning and Bucs fly in together. They fucking wipe the turf, fucking wipe the ice, get 2 wins, get the hell out of Motown, and celebrate. Fuck the haters, the people who had us finishing in 30th place before the year started, the Mike Florios of the world who still hate on us. All of them. All Hayden. Let's go.
That's
fuck the
boy.
Lions. That's our guy right there.
Yeah,
that is our guy right there. Hayden in the house. J-Lo, you're already bringing great troops to the pod, brother. Much love to you, my man.
We got a good one, man. Hey, like I said, we got fans, man. They're here, man. And Hayden's one of them, man. That's a real fan right there.
We got Mike D in Canada, Steppin' Peppin in Canada, Hayden from Kentucky, all these guys from all over the place. Love to see it, J-Lo. Love you, brother. Enjoy your night. I'm sure we'll be texting my man. God bless. Go Bucs. 3-2-1. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Fire the damn cannons. Go Bucs. Go Bucs. K-Dot, and you are incredible.
Todd Bowles, you're the man. Go Bucs.
Todd Bowles, you're the man. Casey Rogers, you are the fucking man. Larry Foote, you're the man. And Dave Canellis, you're the man, and we love you. Who we don't love is C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and we'll make sure he knows about that Friday and Sunday as well. You guys have been awesome. Thanks to everybody for participating. Hayden, Neil, Christopher, Mike D, Olivia, Eddie, Johnny T, Joey, J.C. Allen, Felix Lowe, all the other one, Tyler Sharp, Steppin' Peppin. It's been an incredible show. We love you all. Thank you guys. God bless. Have a great Wednesday night. Good night. See you later, J-Lo. Talk to you on the other side, brother. God bless.
You too, brother. Go Bucs.
Go Bucs. Fire the damn cannons. Go Bucs. Tampa Bay. Touchdown, Tampa Bay. Team 813. Let's go. Game on Sunday, man. I know you're nervous for the Rams, but you got to be a little enthusiastic after being there.
Bro, that game atmosphere was ridiculous. The energy, the electricity. That place was rocking. Anyone was there, and a lot of the Super Buck fans were there too. The Mean Bug.
Tampa Tones. We are joined by the lead goon tonight, host of the Pat and Aaron show of WDAE, Pat Donovan. And it sounds like Stunna is bumbling a little bit. Going to put him on mute for a second until that gets a little clear. But we're joined by Pat
It looks like
Donovan.
Stunna's hanging out with Cheech and Chong in a car with the windows up or something over there.
It does look like we got a little.
No, my camera's broke.